So, hi, welcome. So, I have my lovely client here, Alicia. So, she is going to be sharing her experience of the evolution, which is sort of my one-to-one take on like the emotional eating evolution program.
Mhm.
So, Alicia was just finished up the program with me and she wanted to share her experience. So, Alicia, take it away, share a little bit about yourself.
So, hi, my name is Alicia Christian, and I actually found Michelle's emotional eating program through an ad on Facebook, right? And when I found the ad, I was just drawn to her energy, and I just knew that this was something that I needed to do for myself at some point. But when I initially saw the ad, I wasn't ready, right? And then as time went on, I realized, no, I have to do this for myself because I knew that the road that I was going on, it was just going to continue to just get worse and worse. And I have to be completely candid. Like, even after me finding Michelle, we had our talk, I was still like on the fence, right? And I was just kind of scared to change. That's really what it was. It wasn't even the fact that, oh, knowing I need this help or whatever. I was afraid to change. But I feel like since taking that leap and, finding, different ways to like approach my emotional eating through the program, it has allowed me to recognize it in a way that I didn't before. Because
Mhm.
my emotional eating was mindless in some ways,
Yeah.
like where I would just eat and eat. And then I would like come out of a trance and it was like, oh, I just ate that whole box of Oreos. Like, how did that just happen?
Yeah.
And not realizing that something triggered me to do that throughout the day or maybe right before, whatever. Because a lot of my emotional eating was at night.
Mhm.
Um, and, being more aware of it is one of the biggest things for me because I never even knew that what I was doing was emotionally eating. I just would always joke around and say, "Oh, I just like eating. I love food. Like it's whatever." Like, or if I did something and it was never, not never, sometimes it wasn't even sad. It wasn't a sad thing. It was like, "Oh, I accomplished something. Now I deserve this." And it was not a thing of always this sadness. I think that's where Michelle's program really like brought it in for me and made me realize it doesn't always have to deal with emotions that are quote unquote sad. It could just be any emotion that I've never dealt with,
Mhm.
fully and just worked through it. And I was a kid that grew up with, parents, with the tools that they had, let's be serious, that didn't know how to navigate emotions themselves. So when things were emotional, it was always you suppress it, you suppress it. And so I just grew up suppressing emotions. And when they would arise, there was my food, there was my friend, and so so that was the thing for me, and I am so grateful to have found this program because like I said, the awareness is there. The changes in habits also were a huge thing for me because what I found was I wasn't taking the time to just acknowledge that this is my time that I'm eating, right? I was just, because I'm a nurse. So you're always like, we have to do things so fast. I'm just like, let me eat this really quick. And then I'm back to something else without just taking the time with just acknowledging, okay, this is my set time to eat. Let me just take a breath and, be thankful for the food and know that it's nourishment and not just something that I have to just kind of like get through. Or when I'm in my emotional eating state, just something that's like suppressing all of the feelings that I'm not even recognizing in my day to day. So, it's been life changing, and I honestly have been telling so many people about it. It's hilarious, but well, not hilarious, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, so it's been an amazing journey, and just I can't say it enough. Like this has been such an amazing program for me. So yeah, it's just been awesome.
Yeah. Well, Alicia didn't tell you is that she's been on this journey. We met each other probably like a year, a little bit less than a year ago.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
A couple of interviews, and sometimes we might be aware of our emotional eating and we're seeing like the signs of it, but it's like that part of us to take that leap to join a program. And you said you're sort of like on the fence a little, like there was like
Mhm.
a part of you. What do you think was holding you back from like actually investing in yourself or doing something to help your pattern, because you're exploring it a lot?
Right. I think there was a few things. One was the fact that I didn't know it was on the other side of that, right? The unknown. Because it's like, okay, I make this quote unquote change, then what do I do? Like, am I gonna I don't know what that looks like for me because all I've known is this pattern of, emotionally eating. So I didn't know if things would get worse, which is what I was afraid of, where I would just completely spiral into something else. And it was like, okay, like I don't even know, quote, why I even did this, because now I'm even worse, so it was the unknown. And then also, I've never taken the time, I shouldn't say never, but it's rare that I take the time to do things for myself. I'm always looking out for other people. I'm always the second, third, fourth, whatever person in line of my priorities. And so for me to take this step and put myself first, it was huge. And it was just foreign to me, because even when we had our call where you were, talking to me, we were just kind of like working through how to, like, for me to take that next step, I just felt so much resistance in my body. And I was just like, oh my gosh, Alicia, you always want things better, but it's like that implementing it's always, I'll do it later for myself, or whatever. So those were the biggest things in terms of me just being really reluctant to start the program. And I'm glad that I took the chance, because I would still probably be in my spiral of just not acknowledging the fact that I eat emotionally the way that I've done in the past, and not even taking in the tools that you've given me from the program. It's invaluable. So I mean, for those who are reluctant about this kind of thing, definitely, Michelle's amazing with just talking through this with you, like, seriously, and patient, because listen, it was a mess. Seriously. But super patient with me. And I'm still grateful for that conversation, because it completely changed my perspective of how someone could care for you, that, not that we don't know each other, but I mean, it's just this person that has this knowledge and knows what it's like to struggle in this way. And it's like, why do you want to continue down this road? Like, what is the benefit? And for you to just take that time, it's invaluable. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And even like you mentioned, like that resistance to like in taking this leap for yourself, as we work through, like when you did start, we did start working together, did you realize where that resistance was coming from?
Um, the resistance from for me was coming from the fact, well, one, like I said, the resistance was coming from the idea of change,
Yeah.
right? And then also me just, I just keep going back to just putting I rarely put myself first.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that I can just do that and not feel shame about it. It was a lot of shame.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, oh, I'm actually going to do this for myself, and worry about what other people are going to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was a lot of that, just that shame and feeling guilty about me making myself a priority, which to some people may sound foreign, but I know this resonates with some people. Like,
Yeah.
you putting yourself first, a lot of times it's just seen like you're selfish.
Yeah.
And I have to be okay with that at this point,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel so much better, and I can be of service to those around me much more,
Mm-hmm.
because I have taken the time to pour into myself in ways that I haven't before in the past,
Yeah. So share a little bit about, that was sort of our first call to maybe you joining the program, to how you were feeling, like what was going on in your life then to now. Like, what do you feel? What was that journey like? If you, I mean, that's a big journey, but
It was
but,
a big
but
journey.
what did you notice, like tangibly, as you moved through the process? Like, part of you was afraid of what was on the other side.
Mhm.
Like what's on the other side of this? Part of it
Right,
was like, can I put myself first? Like those are
right.
some themes that came up as well. So how do you feel like as you move through with the emotional eating that changed?
So obviously those things were a part of the factor of, that journey, just accepting the fact that it's okay, right? But then on the physical, or like even tangible level, like, I started sleeping better.
Mm,
Um, and I actually had the ability to have better bowel movements. I don't know if that's TMI, but like, it is what it is. Like, because with you eating so fast, your digestive system, it hinders it in so many ways. And so I would always have issues with having daily bowel movements. And I'm just like, what is the problem? And so to have that, like, I laugh because working in the medical field, we always laugh at older people because they're like hardcore about letting you know about their bowel movements, right? But I feel no, I'm serious. But to now recognize, like, oh, this is something that's very important because it affected my mood, and I didn't realize how releasing all that would just make me feel so much better, like on a daily basis. Like I was like, oh, on with the day, like seriously, and also being mindful of my water intake. Like I was pretty good about drinking water, and have a plant-based diet for the most part, but to really just be mindful and just taking the time to plan it out in a way that I've never done before. Because I'm the kind of person, I throw things together. I'm like, oh, that's the food, and go for it, but like really being mindful, okay, how many fruits and vegetables have incorporated today, my green smoothies, making sure that I'm drinking those, because I still continue them. I have them at least 2 or 3 times a week. They make me feel I feel so good. And that was another thing. I was worried about the smoothie, completely worried about the smoothie. I'm going to be hungry, like flipping out, like seriously. And once I actually started drinking, I was like, I'm fine. And it's just that thing of unknown again, just taking on new things in a way that, and normally I'm pretty good-ish with that kind of stuff, but when I think it was like the forefront, it's like, oh my gosh, all these things, and it was like, okay, Alicia, just breathe. Like it's okay. Like this is what you want. You want to start creating and promoting change, and yeah, I just actually doing all those things and seeing the results in those ways. Like I said, the sleep, the bowel movements, me just feeling good in my body,
Mhm.
uh, and feeling more confident. Like I didn't think that would be a part of the process, but like seriously, um, yeah, it's those things for sure was what like that's coming to me right now. But I'm pretty sure there's more things.
Yeah, yeah. So like, some things that you didn't mention, like before what you had tried for emotional eating, you had like a surgery, you tried
Mhm.
therapy for a little bit before you started working with
Yeah.
me. And then yeah, in the beginning there was those tangible effects. And then as you move through the program, like you can also share a little bit about, if you feel like it, like when we were doing like the actual like processing, like the somatic stuff, like maybe
Mhm.
how you felt, because sometimes when we do these meditations, they just get to the root and they're just like such a process. We integrate and we just are like in the confidence and we don't realize where we were before, how we were like
Right.
holding and feeling that. So I don't know if that's sometimes what I see with clients, but do you feel like sometimes it's hard to look back, you're like, yeah, I feel great now.
Right. Well, here's the thing. It's like the first of all, the somatic meditations were life changing. And for anyone who doesn't know about them, I mean, Michelle will walk you through it. And maybe if you want to research it further just to get an idea of what it's like, I can't explain it properly, but all I know is getting to the root of my trauma and realizing that a lot of those things, those traumatic events in my life, were basically stuck in my body and I didn't realize it. And recognizing that things from, like, even I think we found things like from when I was 3 years old. I'm like, what the heck? Like 3 years old, like I didn't know that this was something that was affecting me and kind of like driving me through my life and like how I kind of like perceive things in my life. And not, I mean, it wasn't just at that age, but different events throughout my life have kind of like kept me in a certain place. And I didn't know that was what kind of kept me stuck there. And then also anything that would trigger me, and I would kind of, my body would remember that would then compound on my eating. And it was just like, whoa, this is so intense, but the same, so like amazing that I am that I'm fortunate enough to have this opportunity to work through this.
Mhm.
Um, because I just never thought that this would even be because I've always been told, go to therapy, and we know how that turned out. But like, you know what I'm saying, like, well, but whatever. And for those who need therapy and those that it works for, that's great. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
This is something that has changed my life in so many ways, where I can recognize when things are like affecting my body. And like, for instance, last night, I think we were talking about like things like the full moon or something yesterday. Like I was flailing. And I mean, literally, like just going through it. And so I had to like take some time. I journaled last night, and I sat and I just was still with myself. And I was like talking to my inner child, and I was like, Alicia, what is going on?
Mhm.
And really working through that. I've never done that. Like, what? Like, I probably talked to myself like, girl, get it together. But
Yeah,
like,
let's see your
but truly just acknowledging that that little person is still there, and they still have needs that need to be met, and then to provide that reassurance that I didn't receive from my parents. And then also just realizing that even though my parents didn't provide those things, they lacked in tools as well. And for me to find that forgiveness in that way, but still acknowledge that it still affected me. That
Mhm.
was something I battled with through this journey as well, was trying to honor who my parents were, but at the same time recognize that there were things that affected me in a very negative way. And it's almost like a and but situation.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's something I'm still working through, because I revered my parents, you know. But even still, like that whole somatic meditation, like it just really grounded me too, in a way that I've never, like, I feel so much more grounded in my body.
Mm.
Like it's weird, but in a good way.
Yeah.
But you just feel so calm in my body. I've never felt like that before. It's always like, oh my gosh, are people looking at me? Oh my God, am I wearing the right thing? It's like, listen, this is me. I'm wearing what I'm wearing. I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is who I am.
I just love it.
Yeah.
I think when we first started, like one of the things, it was like you would emotionally eat and you're like, I don't know why. Like how you said, I just like food. I love food, but it was like so disconnected from the emotion.
Hmm.
Like it was just so quick into the pattern. And now it's like you recognize it, and it's like
Hmm.
it's even slower, where like last night you're like, okay, I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna journal, and you sort of like, adapted the method so that you're there and you're somatically being and processing and moving through.
Right.
Like amazing, like that's amazing for like, let's say 12 weeks ago,
Right.
from like how many years of just like being in this cycle to like,
Right.
oh. And it's not like, using food to cope. You're actually, when you do that process, it's like meeting your true needs. It's like what you actually needed. It's not another coping mechanism, it's not
Right.
another distraction. So you feel like that deep calm in your body, that deep presence. And that's a lot from like the meditations we've done. Like one of the songs that came to was the Cosy by Beyonce. like like
Yeah.
you tangibly, somatically feel that
Mhm.
expansion and that freedom in your body, because you're now integrating all of these parts of you. There's like so much more wholeness, and it's like your own essence is like has so much more space to be. And so you can walk down, this is who I am, like who, like this is what I'm wearing. Like I just feel the ease emanating from like in
Yeah.
my body. I don't have to like, that trauma and all of that like makes us contract.
Right.
So I mean, it's amazing, like to see. I could even feel from those meditations, like you just so like like open into it, because I know you were so afraid, because we've had so many conversations even before I came up to join. Like,
Right.
no, it's on the other, like, I don't know. And it's almost like, what is there after you do it? The fear of like, so what now? I don't have food. What is there?
Right. So I think for me, there, I mean, what is there? There's my journaling, there's my meditating, there's me going outside and actually, acknowledging nature. You know what I'm saying? Like things that I would just kind of take for granted, and just be mindful of things that just seem so, like, it seems cliche, but at the same time, it's recognizing there are other things in life that I can enjoy, and just and truly enjoy it, and not feel like crap after, because eating was like an immediate fix, or like my quote unquote enjoyment. And then after it, because I'm a sugar person,
Yeah.
so I'd get that sugar high, then I crash, then I'm flailing, losing my mind, like why did I do that, blah blah blah. I can go outside, I can just enjoy the beauty of whatever, if I'm feeling stressed, and it's like, after I've taken a walk around and kind of talked myself, down or whatever, journaled, whatever, it allows me to see that, okay, those things are happening, like it happened, like the trigger happened or whatever situation happened, but I can still, I'm okay. Like and I need to go through those feelings, like really feel the feelings. Um, and I can't, I've never done that before.
Mhm. And do you
And
feel
when I,
oh, sorry.
no, sorry, go ahead.
Go on. Go on. Go
No, it's like, but initially, now thinking about it, subconsciously, it was very scary for me to do that because I've always been told not to do it. So it's like, okay, clearly I'm being told not to do this, so this must be something bad. The little kid in me is like, okay, that's a bad thing. We'll get in trouble if we do that, so let's not do it. But realizing that no, this isn't bad and it's okay to have emotions. We all need to actually express our emotions and then work through them, through, healthy channels, um, and that's something I've just never done in the past. And so, like I said, now I have tools to actually work through those different emotions. And even when I'm happy, I have to kind of like, okay, Alicia, you don't need that cake. Like, girl, okay, yes, we did. We paid the bills, but that doesn't mean that we have to go get some cake because we did what we were supposed to do. It's okay. Like, we'll be okay, And that's how I would operate in a lot of situations. I think I was joking with you one time. I was like, oh, I did whatever. So I went and got me some cookies. I was like, and it's like, because I did it, It's like, you know, but it's like really just talking to myself and being still with myself and not disassociating from whatever's like affecting me in that moment. Just really being aware of myself, which is once again something I just never did.
Mhm.
And it's so much more freeing. Like I said, initially was foreign and was very scary, but I am so happy because I'm learning myself in ways that I would have never done before if I didn't start this journey with you.
I think there was like an example you said after one of the meditations that you were at like a family gathering, and normally you'd be trying to like tell them like how to live life or like, trying to create like more safety for yourself or trying to like control the situation a bit more.
Right.
And it would like really stress you out, and then you realize like, oh no, they're who they are, I'm who I am, and then
Mhm.
I can like make a choice, have a boundary for myself to leave. And that's like a sense of empowerment. That's like a new
Right.
space to be in that can be scary to speak up or to let go. I don't know if you notice more of those things like happening, but
Yeah. And at one point, and I think it was actually during that particular session too, where I shared that it's called FOMO, right? Fear of missing out.
yeah.
That was something that was huge for me. I never wanted to miss out, but it would be at the cost of me being super exhausted or maybe, doing things I shouldn't be doing, like overeating, maybe drinking too much, whatever, and then reaping these benefits,
Mhm.
not benefits, reaping, all of these consequences, like the benefits of consequences, I guess is how you want to say it. But seriously, it is like if I'm not feeling like that this is something that I need to continue with. Like, okay, that was great that if you guys are still having fun, wonderful. I need to go home. Like, I'll see the pictures on Instagram, like whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
Making that choice for myself is so empowering, but at the same time, another foreign thing for me that I am now stepping into and feeling okay with. And
Mhm.
it's why I'm 45 years old. Like you would think at 45, I wouldn't be this peer pressured, but it is a thing. Um, and it's wonderful to one be able to do that and then also acknowledge people for who they are. It's like that's just you. Like I was always trying to create these spaces of safety or like where things should be quote unquote appropriate because it's my sense of like feeling nervous or scared and it's like I can't control anybody but myself in this situation. And I can either enjoy the situation or I can remove myself and that's okay. Like either way, I have to find peace with either being there or not being there. And yeah, it's so empowering and like I said, so freeing to just be in this space right now. Like it's wild. It is.
Like, so it's like so much more than about food. Like the food is
Yes.
like the one part, and you have this, you got like even the nutritional and physical, you notice a difference in your digestion and your
Mhm.
energy. And that's like a part of creating that healthy structure with food. And then like going deeper, what is the food like sort of covering up as well? And like
Mhm.
going deeper into what, feeling more empowered and feeling like you could be more free and feeling that actual ease and confidence in your body.
But like I will say, like how you were saying, like the whole mourning process of like certain things. I went plant-based in 2009 because I was diagnosed with MS, right? And I knew that MS was due to inflammation, like, a lot of it. But I didn't realize the emotional eating component was a part of that, when all the trauma that I had was compounding on the fact that I was diagnosed with MS. But me going plant-based, I had a mourning process because food was the way my family came together, socializing. We always ate. Always, like that was just, if we were getting together, somebody's had some big spread. Like that's just how we operated. Because one, that was our sedative to kind of keep people at bay that were probably gonna, their emotions. We didn't know how to express things. And so in order to keep people preoccupied, there was food. So to go plant-based, knowing no one in my family was plant-based,
Hmm.
I had to mourn that because it was like, how am I going to socialize with them? And then fast forward to this thing with me going into this whole emotional eating program and making changes with how I'm, addressing food and like really, being a bit more mindful instead of just eating mindlessly. That's a process I'm still mourning because my emotional eating, just to be completely honest, a lot of that's done with my wife, right? And so taking in the fact that I have to make changes to that routine, it is not easy. It's not easy because I've done it for so long with her. Like that was just our thing. And now acknowledging that that can't be a part of my framework anymore in order for me to move forward. Just like I had to make the changes with being plant-based for my health, this is also for my mental health, my physical health, for everything, emotional. Um, and I it took me a while to do this with being a plant-based eater, to just understand that this was for my benefit. And I'm still on this journey of realizing my emotional eating, the changes with that. I'm still on that journey as well. And I don't know if there's a destination. I honestly am not looking for one. That was always me in diet culture, looking for this, looking for the destination, wanting it to end, wanting it to end. And it's like, this is allowing me to unravel myself and just experience myself and just almost like discovery. It's like, leash, this is you. Like, wow, who did this? Like, this is crazy, like, so
Yeah.
I'm loving this whole process. But like I said, that morning is real. Like, so for people to think like this is miraculous, like, oh, everything changed. No, you have to think about all the things that you are involved in with your emotional eating. There might be a partner involved, there might be a family involved. And then realizing that you have to do this for yourself. And if they love you enough, they'll be on that journey with you. It's not like gonna be perfect. Let me, I'm not gonna say that, oh, they're gonna be like, yes, we're on board, but like you have to make those changes. And I'm realizing and I'm seeing, like with my wife, she follows along with it. Like she's like, oh, I guess we're not doing that tonight. And it's not me saying we're not eating, but it's like it's literally just the practice. And she sees me putting things into practice. It's like, oh, this is actually beneficial. So yeah, it's the journey that I'm okay with. And I'm still working through and being okay with that too. Like I'm still working. I feel so good about that, and I thank you for that as well. Like me realizing that this is my life and this is what I have to work through each and every day. It's not some perfection thing that's just gonna be erased, like how I thought with all the diet programs I did in the past, and then wonder, oh, I'm a loser. Like, how can I not get this together?
Yeah. I
Um,
think it's like
thank you.
yeah, it's almost like the diet is like the dangling carrot is when you reach the
Yes.
body or whatever, we're so conditioned like, then I'll be happy. But it's
Yes.
also like moment to moment, like you said, you're connecting to yourself because you're actually meeting your true needs and getting to know yourself. Like your emotions hold so much information about you and your experience
Mhm,
and your likes, your dislikes, like who you are, like you're touching into life.
mhm.
And we're just so trained, like the mark, like just everything around. It's
Yeah.
like reach for that, and then
Mhm.
you'll finally be happy. And then you get there, and then you're like, what just happened? Like,
Right.
I'm not happy
Right.
there.
Right. And then also realizing that like those external factors, like Weight Watchers, or I hate to keep saying that, but that's what I did.
Yeah.
But those different external factors for weight loss, I didn't take the time to see if that was really for me. Like I didn't find something that worked just for me. And I feel like this program is customized in a way that works for you. Like it's not like, oh, you have to follow this by way of everything, like
Yeah.
you don't follow it. It's like you can make it work for you and how your actual lifestyle works. And that's even more freeing for me than anything, because I always still think we're so punitive
Yeah.
in the diet world, because it's like, you go, especially if you're going in person to get weighed at these different programs, you didn't lose a pound and they're looking at you like, you probably were eating the cookies again. So it's like, like,
Yeah.
and not really allowing you to talk through why you were doing that, like, or why you might have had like a thing with, your emotions. Like that's not addressed. It's just like,
Yeah.
why aren't you losing the weight?
Yeah. You know
Uh,
what came to me as you said that? It's like
but
you have that parent, that punishing parent.
yes,
It's like we keep going into these like, oh, I'm a good girl. I'm a good girl. I'm a
yeah,
good girl. I'm just trying to please my parent, which is like the deeper subconscious, like running the show also. But
mhm,
then we are shifting to the healthy. How do we have a parent that is like actually meeting our needs? We are becoming that. How do we give ourselves what we need? How we actually genuinely mother ourselves, be there for ourselves, see ourselves, and that's such a shift from the survival parenting to
mhm,
thriving, to honoring your child,
right,
honoring yourself. Because if you're not honoring you as a parent, if you are, how are you going to do that for your kids? Because you're
wow,
coming from a lineage of this scarcity, this survival parenting of like
yep,
the black and white, the right or
yeah,
wrong. You
yeah,
did this, you're punished. The lack of awareness, and like we understand that's been going on, but now we can see something different. It doesn't work for us, and it actually in our nervous system we're in fight or flight mode, which is that stress mode when we're doing those things. How do we shift into rest and digest, which is, that's where health is turned on, and we all want that health in all the
right,
levels. So we have to shift all of this to get that thing that we want, that biologically is where we're going. Like there's no argument for that. I can't say like,
right,
yes, go punish yourself, it's going to give you the best health possible. No,
right,
it's not. It's going to damage
right.
you long term. Like there's just like physiological consequences. So
Okay.
that just came to me. So
That
it's so
that's
true
it.
as you were saying it. It's like looking at you and point, all the criticisms and not understanding you,
Right,
understanding you specifically, and
right,
trying to help honor who you are as an
right,
individual.
right,
It's like fit into the box or get out, or like you don't
exactly,
match what I want. You can't be authentically you.
right,
So you
right.
give away your authenticity in all the externality. Yeah.
Ah, yes,
It's deep.
it is, because it's like I have always thought that looking outward was the way,
Yeah.
because how could I know? Like I'm not the expert, you know what I'm saying? Like I would, but I am.
Mhm. Once you know how to tap into your
Right,
body, like here's someone guiding you to like, this is your body, this is hunger, this, how does this feel for you? Asking you the question so you do become the expert. They're not
right,
the expert on you, but they can ask you the questions to reveal, unravel, like open you up to like, yeah, oh, there, I had to look there. I had to do this
right,
rather than like, here's the box. Just like you must mold to it. It's
right,
the
exactly.
guidance is important, and it's again in that healthy, like almost like parent child, like mentor, student relationship where you're honoring that person, and there is like, I don't know, that's what true power is. It's
Yeah,
not like saying I'm right or you're wrong. It's like, how do I honor you so that you know who you are at the end of the day? Because how
right,
I am and how you are, it's going to be different, but it's going to
right,
be right for you. Yeah.
yeah.
So, how do you think, what would you say to someone who's kind of on the fence? Like you were someone on the fence. What would you say to
Mhm.
someone who's on the fence about joining a program like this? What advice would you give to them?
Well, I mean, for someone who's on the fence, I would one just ask them like, what is benefiting you staying in the place that you're in right now?
Hmm.
Like, you maintaining this lifestyle, what benefits are there? Because if it's beneficial for you to stay here, then I mean, here you are, right? But if you know that what you've been doing in terms of emotional eating and all of the different things that have been happening in your life have caused like chaos, because that's how I felt. I just felt chaotic half the time. Like, let's just be serious. Um, but if you want to change that and you want more peace in your life and you want more clarity, like just the clarity alone is just, oh my gosh, right? It's amazing. If you want that, it's like take that step, take that leap, right? And even down to like the financial component, like I was worried about that. I mean, I've been a single mom for a long time. I'm now married, but that mentality of always worrying about money constantly, if that's an issue, I say still challenge it, because in my experience doing that, it was just like money was just showing up for me. And I seriously,
Yeah.
I kid you not. Because even when Michelle, listen, that whole initial conversation, guys, I just wish you could have been there. But
It's probably on a full moon too. It was on the eclipse. It was crazy. Okay.
right. But I was so concerned about it. And I will say that if you want something in your life to actually happen, I feel like, especially if you believe in the universe working things out for you,
Yeah.
take that leap. I'm telling you, like I could not believe how so I had different opportunities that would just show up in terms of me getting extra money from this. And then I had an opportunity to work something extra. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's paying for itself in a way that was like, initially like, I don't have the money. How am I gonna do this? Oh my God. You're like,
Yeah.
you know, it worked itself out. And I think the more that you provide care for yourself, things are just going to just continuously work out for you in the end. So like I said, if it's benefiting you to stay in the spiral, stay in the spiral. But if you want to change, I say just take that leap and things will just start unfolding. And that was another thing, that faith and knowing that me making this change is going to better my life in so many ways, that alone was just like, wow. So I say, just take the leap and you'll be surprised with what this program will do for you and what you can do for yourself. Because that's another thing too. You have to put in some work. Like, it's not just Michelle, you're just kind of like there, like you have to put in some work, So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like Alicia is like the best client. She shows up for all the calls. She's like doing all the lists. She's like
Right.
really actually like committing, and that's like a big part of it. It's
Yeah.
like it can show up, but if you don't commit, if there's like nothing happening, and that's
Yeah.
not even you committing to me. That's you showing up for you, and you showed up for yourself, and then you having that energy, it's like the universe showed up for you because you said,
Yeah.
yes, I'm worth it. I'm going to show up for myself. And they're like, it can only be mirrored back to you to have that support. And so
Right.
Alicia was like amazing to work with. She's so open and she's so obviously funny and like just even in her self-deprecation. But I mean, she's just really like wanting, she just wants to expand and she has that light, like you can see that. It's just like there are these blocks in her way that have been holding her back, and just moving through her emotional eating is just her becoming more and more of her. Like it's not like she was turned into something else. She, all the parts of her that were not like in alignment or blocking her, or the messages she got that, that she then turned to food or she couldn't express, all of those things became more aligned to her. And then she could just express herself. Like that Beyonce song was so amazing. It's like just cozy and who I am, but like
Right.
this expansive feeling, this openness. And it's like, she could feel it in her body. It wasn't like she was just thinking it. It's like when it's in your body, it's so powerful. It's like a feeling, it's like a vibration. It's like that's how you really know you're clearing trauma. You feel that ease in your body. You don't just know you went through something. You actually feel it and process it, and there's a peace and an ease,
Yeah.
and there's like a dropping in and a softness, and it is work and it is you showing up for yourself, but you are worth that at the end of the day. And Alicia, like she showed herself she was worth that by showing up. This is like your journey about you showing up for you. And it's like every time you come to a call, every time you invest in yourself, you're just saying, yes, I'm worth it. It's that you're saying to that inner child, that you that didn't have that opportunity, like, yes, I'm going to do my best to support you, to give you the tools, to give you the container so that you can bloom. Because it's all there. It's just needing the tools that we weren't given. Alicia said it really beautifully. It's like our parents, and our parents, these generations didn't have this awareness, and it impacted us. And now we have the tools to do that inner healing and honor ourselves first, and then from that place of compassion we can extend it out to them. And
Right.
then we also give that to like our kids. So Alicia has a daughter, we pave the way down there too. So it's like this healing in both directions. We don't have to hold a grudge, but it's like we also honor ourselves. No more bypassing, no more like just like pushing through life. We get there. So it was so amazing working with you, Alicia. And I just want to say, like, when I have a client like that, it's also like so motivational to see like the process, see it unfold. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing all of your like your stories, your journey. I hope it inspires someone to choose themselves too. And I know Alicia is going for like she has lots of stuff.
Yes.
So
No,
yeah, yeah,
seriously, this was life changing for me.
yeah,
And there are no words to express how I feel now. And I know it's still like a journey
yeah,
as opposed to like a destination. Because that was what I would always hope for, was this destination with every diet I tried. I was the queen of Weight Watchers and hoping that, at some point I would reach, I would follow all the points and, whatever. And it was like, this is beyond me, being on some type of diet. This is really me releasing things that have just been in my body, and that I'm using food as a crutch to kind of maintain, all this. So yeah, this beyond invaluable. So thank you, Michelle. Seriously, you have no idea. Seriously.
aw. Thank you so much for letting me guide you and like be on this journey with you. It's always so much. It is fun for me. I know I love
Yes.
the depth. Like that's something
Mhm.
I think that's really missing, that connection and that depth in a journey. And it's like really beautiful because it's like connecting to that deeper, like that, like the humanity of us. It's
Mhm.
like really touching into who we are. Like I have like goosebumps, but we live in this world that's so on the surface a lot
Yeah.
of the times, and that's why we get stuck. It's like we need to drop into this deeper level and start creating from there. So thank you so
Yeah.
much. If you have anything else to add, let me know. um
I don't know. I could talk forever, as you know, but I just continue to say thank you. I'm so grateful that I clicked on your ad on Facebook. Seriously, that was almost I can't believe that was almost a year ago, but that's a whole other story. Like, if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't be here. Like, it's just so wild how the world, I mean, how the universe works for your good. Like, it's just amazing. So
yeah,
thank you so much again.
no problem.